Good morning. Question, do you like changes? I guess when you stop to think about your answer, the answer is, well, I guess it depends. If the change is seen as a positive thing, the answer is probably yes, you like it. But if the change is seen as a negative, the answer is usually no, you don't like it. So like I said, the answer to the question is, it depends. Perhaps we should define the severity of the change we're talking about. For example, will it result in a major change in your life or not? You know, a birthday, an anniversary, things that happen frequently, that might be negligible. So the change is too, and you don't really notice it that much. But if it's a big thing like a graduation or a promotion or a marriage or death or something like that, resulting in many impactful changes in life, well, then it's a whole different answer because that's very significant. Probably the harder change to deal with, though, is what I'll call slow change. So slow that we really don't see or feel the change until much time has passed. For example, getting older. In my case, it seems like my 20s just morphed silently and swiftly into my 30s without any fanfare, even though during that period of time I had many significant changes. Starting with I got married, graduated from college, started my first job, bought our first house, had 3 children, got promoted, moved to a new city, bought a second house, and on and on. That was a lot of significant changes, but it was spread over the 10 years and it didn't feel very unnerving at the time. Now after time, it sometimes becomes very noticeable. For example, Marty and I were out the other day running some errands and decided to grab a quick lunch at a regular favorite place we have. The food was great, as was the service. Nothing had changed until we got the bill. What used to be a routine quick lunch for $30 was now $45. Well, wait a minute, what happened? When did that happen? Inflation has been in the news at roughly 3% for many, many years, but the last 4 or 5 years has been much greater than that, and it caught up, and now it's become noticeable to many of us. Also, most people don't set out to deliberately gain 10 to 15 pounds. And then one day they notice their pants are just too tight, they hop on the scale, and there they are. 10 pounds you didn't need or want. Now, there's a change no one wants or likes. And as you know, it takes twice as long to get the unwanted pounds off than it did to get them on. Ugh. Yes, most things cost more than they did 10 years ago, so we need to cut back in some areas. Suddenly, almost everything we spend on we think is essential. But are they really? Here's why I'm bringing this up. Recently, I've heard from a number of pastors who are noticing that giving at their churches is starting to decline. Seems to be the rationale is simple. Costs have risen for so many things that we need to reduce our expenses. Plus, summer is coming, the family wants to take a vacation trip, and gas and airfare and food and lodging and all the activities and fun things that we want to do are going to cost more, so we need to reduce our spending in other areas, and giving to church is too often not considered an essential. My friends, this is not true. The church's expenses have also risen, so we should actually increase our giving to reflect the effect of inflation on them. After all, we're talking about feeding our souls, increasing our knowledge regarding God's way and will for us to live, and preparing us for eternity in heaven. I can't think of anything more essential than those activities. So I urge you to reevaluate your priorities from an eternal perspective and increase your giving to the Lord accordingly. I can attest by my own life experience that God truly wants a cheerful giver, 2 Corinthians 2:9. And as Proverbs 11:24 says, a generous person will prosper. I promise you, you cannot outgive God. Something to think about this week. And as always, have a great week. Want to dig deeper on this topic? If so, check out our special Dig Deeper study for this video. Visit our website at lifemarkministries.org.